Good afternoon. Sunday, June 6, 2021 in Sarasota, Florida. Almost a couple of weeks now have passed in between videos. I'm really working to not have that much time pass simply because it takes a lot of energy to get myself back into any sort of flow when there's been an absence of time. Because this, although I believe is my calling, part of my calling, to put myself out publicly, now more than ever, every single word I speak is with tremendous purpose. And it's a word that either I've already taken action upon and have acted out, and or is a word, phrase, sentence that I am ready to act upon now. This was not the case for most of my life, and in my past, if people think I talk a lot now or share a lot now, you didn't know me even as recently as 5 years ago, but certainly not 8, 10, 20 years ago. Words have tremendous power. And in my experience since my awakening, never have I been so at a loss for words. More often than not, when I'm really trying to express what I'm really feeling. Post-awakening, I have an understanding for myself of the magnitude and breadth of my field, if you will, that I was picking up on. I didn't understand to what degree my sensitivity allowed me to pick up on well beyond my own life, what was going on in my own life, and accepting what I was picking up on as my own. And I already, even before understanding that, didn't have anywhere near enough words to express all that I was always feeling. Hence why I talked so much and so fast. It's so strange when simultaneously I absolutely believe it is utterly important for us to change drastically. The ultimate change be a drastic change, but knowing that we have to take baby steps towards this drastic change, and understanding when you're actually taking a step on a path that's leading towards change, or more dangerously, when you think you're taking a step that's leading towards change, and all you're really doing is taking a step towards the same old same. It is more important than ever for us to genuinely be on the changed path. Yet, harder than ever, if you're basing it on everything that we've collectively been told up until this point. We've not been conditioned to self-assess which one of those roads we're on. See, even this is too complicated. I really wanted to start by saying, you know, for most of my adult life, certainly the past 10 years, I've often been told you take life too seriously. In the past 10 years, not only have I understood there are many reasons for that, but I also understand why I feel that way to such a degree, the seriousness. And it's simply because I am extremely sensitive, and my field of what I pick up on is extremely vast. And we all have the capability to have just as vast a sensory field. In fact, we have that. We all have the ability to tap into it at the same degree that I naturally tapped into it, and now that I understand it, consciously play with, and live with, and work with every moment of every day. So the seriousness is simply due to the fact that I took a very different path than a lot of my peers, especially at the collegiate level. But even my closest friends, high school and middle school, I was always in the very top tier percentage of academics, always. So most of my peers, many people with whom I've been very close in my past, extremely quote-unquote successful in this third dimension, went on to rise up very high in the various hierarchies of their professions and fields of study and work. I took a path that did not have anywhere near the same set of parameters, rules, or hierarchy. In fact, there was no hierarchy in the path that I took, unconsciously until 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, consciously being aware that I was following my path and my path only, creating my own, I don't even want to use the word hierarchy, but existing as I finally understood myself to be, the truth of myself, which was multidimensional being a multidimensional spiritual being. Simply in this, having an experience in this very specific time, space, dimension, and reality. And as such, I was playing a very different game. And not many of the folks that, because it is sort of mutually exclusive, I mean, you can work for others and be in school and do some of those mainstream things and be on this path. But if you are, you're not doing those things for the same reasons as the mass energy surrounding you. And that's not a judgment. It's a statement of factual. You have to just talk, Allison. You have to just talk. You have to just talk. This has to be. Simple, honest, direct, transparent. These 4 adjectives best describe at a very high level what Ripple 2020 represents. In the upcoming weeks, I'm going to have many videos attempting to put to words a project for which words do not even begin to have the ability to fully describe, define, express. It's a starting point, But the project, words are only a limited aspect of this, which is why the ask is only for $1. $1, and spread the word to 4 people. I'll have plenty of words on the website worth your dollar. And the effort it takes to tell 4 people that you genuinely believe will also be able to give $1 and be willing to tell 4 people. There will be enough information on the website to justify whatever effort that takes. But I can almost guarantee one will not be able to get the full feeling of what this project called Ripple 2020 is intending to be and will be. It's a leap of faith. You gotta just contribute a little piece and watch for now. Because going forward, it's about watching a lot less and contributing a lot more, but in a completely different shift in the flow of energy and the frequency at which the flow is occurring. Game changer. Totally different reality. I believe that I have a very clear, at a minimum, feeling of that frequency. And all I'm trying to do is guide, 1, myself, stay in that frequency. And 2, as a result of being able to do number 1, serve as a guide for any other individual or small collective up until the whole collective. Every one of us that rises our frequencies as high as possible and is able to maintain it potentially could quite literally have the effect on hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of others. In terms of, it's almost like you're attuning. It's like a vibration, it's a note that there's a part of them can barely hear it, the sound, but it's more, I think, a pull, a feeling that they can't help but be pulled up into. The beautiful shift is they can't be pulled up into your version of the frequency. They have to pull into that frequency through their unique character. And only they can honor how and what that frequency through their vessel looks like, sounds like, what it does, what choices it makes. So by virtue of that, poof, goes away all these things we look outside of ourselves for as validations and guideposts. Because as I said, it's a guidepost that comes as a feeling. And feelings originate, exist in terms of our physical vessels in our heart. What your heart feels. And words do not have the same meaning at two different frequencies. And in fact, it's astounding the difference between two words that may be synonyms in this frequency, in this mass dimensional, third dimension Earth. Two words that are synonyms, which by definition means they're practically the same meaning. Night and day difference in terms of their definition difference when you really start to go into at these nuanced levels of the words and try to rise above the word and get to the essence of the word, which is a feeling. Words are trying to convey, among other things, feelings. But we are not conditioned. In recent decades, if anything, the language has been, I don't want to say it's been destroyed, because there's purpose in us moving away from language. Tremendous purpose. This in between, unless you're at a certain frequency, it is very easy to turn words that I say around, because we're living in an age where literally truth has become lie and lie has become truth. Words have been twisted and turned in so many ways. Simultaneously, we've been trained away from ourselves and our ability to self-validate, self-discernment, self-govern, self-guide, and determine and choose our own paths. We have been brainwashed and conditioned. For those that claim to be awake, and like everything, there is a spectrum, anybody on any part of that path knows it is literally, the work is literally deprogramming your entire, it's almost like absolutely every aspect of what your physical vessel has become, starting with the way that the neurons connect in your brain, all the way down to how that physically manifests in the habits of your body. If the premise is that at the foundation it's been tainted, which there's beyond enough evidence right now out there for lots and lots and lots of years, in lots of different ways, whether you're talking business, financial, economic, religious, educational, the political for certain, the magnitude of the corruption and lies. Plenty of facts. If you don't want to believe that, absolutely you're right, but you're not on a path of change. You're on a path of continuing to repeat. And that is everybody's choice to make. I can't sit back any longer when I see or hear or witness or am part of people making choices where I know for certain it's not on the path to change, but it's on the path of more of the same shit. If everything at the foundation was a lie, then you have to go back to the foundation and recreate it all. And anybody on the path knows that is an enormous aspect of the work. And people move through it at all different rates, in many different ways. And it could very easily be argued right now that people can blow through what took, for example, me 10 years, people might be able to blow through in 10 months. Regardless, there is a process of deprogramming. And the difference between a fear-based world that's governed by these lies and manipulation, and a love-based world that's self-governed, where grown adults don't need to be manipulated, take ownership and accountable for their own life, and thus owning and accountable for their choices and the life and the world that results around them, it's a very different world, very different world. So it becomes clear as day. That is definitely not, it's clear as day. That's why when this happened from day one, it was clear as day. Clear. It was more of the same old bullshit. A whole new level of the same old bullshit, but definitely not the road to change. And the change to what the masses claim they want. We claim we want fair, equal, just, respect for all, opportunity for all. That's what we claim. Our behaviors definitely don't show that, and that's part of the whole thing too. What are we doing in the now moment? This is the most of what I can do in the now moment. Now. This isn't a project of perfection. There will be a time for projects that are to be much more polished. This is not one of those projects. It's not to minimize it, not in any way, shape, or form. But there is a reason the buy-in is only $1. It's a faith. It's belief and faith and trust and participation. Minimal. So that even though I tell you, if you're going to have any expectation, have the highest expectation. I will give you $1's worth. As I birth this idea that is not mine, it's just coming through me. I'm just sort of the carrier and the messenger. But my soul signed up to put together at this time the easiest way to try to guide the most people in the collective to true change towards a society that is genuinely about cooperation, thriving, peace, happiness, opportunity, for all, for real. If that is what you want for real, the momentum of how we exchange energy must be shifted pretty damn drastically. And all this is intended to be, on an individual level, a minimal contribution, and enough at the collective, 4 million individuals is the goal, to just get the whirlpool going in the other direction. Remember when you used to be in a pool? My cousins, we used to do this at my cousins in Livonia. They had an above the ground pool. One of the favorite things, it's irrational, it's so simple, why this was so fun. And everybody in the pool would walk around the rim of the pool, and you'd get the momentum of the water, would really, really get going. And then collectively you'd finally make the decision, okay, go the other way. It's exactly what Ripple is. But we've got to get it going in the other way. Just like the pool, telling you this will be the best dollar you've ever contributed in terms of what I think you're going to feel just to be a part of this. But I need enough people to, 1, take me seriously, and 2, be willing to participate. Many more recordings over the next, I'm fast approaching where I cannot put this off any longer. My uneasiness still of opening myself up because I'm not screwing around. But at the same time, I cannot do what I came here to do in this way unless enough people come together that are ready to truly live a different way, make different choices, exchange in more intentional ways, slowing down and going deeper rather than speeding up and getting bigger, going way more within than without. And then when you do go without, being much, much more selective, much more discerning, and settling for less. Like not settling. Actually, it's funny, that's got power of words. Settling, compromising less. Doing that less than what you're doing present day. But the way I said it made it sound like you're, like right now we're settling for less. We need to settle for more. But actually the process of settling or compromising less, that's a great example. A great example of the words and the subtlety. Oh my God. And